tutorials. So this is Anthony, and this is how to fix the Weigh beam system. So this example, I have a Weigh beams. These are the blue beams, and they come with the 901B, and specifically it's a dual port. You'll know it's a dual port because it has two 5-pin connectors, one per beam. So I showed you the 901B, but if you have the gray beams, then you will have the T900B. It has the same features, but it has one less button, but it has two of the 5-pin connectors as well. So I'll show you for both. So you first do is get either one of your indicators, and you first try to calibrate. So I already made a video on how to calibrate 900 or 901, but I'll just show you very quickly on how to do it on both. So first thing you should always do is check the cables. So you're going to run your hands to each of the cables and check all the way, even to the connector here. Typically this is where it gets damaged. Look for any cuts or smash in the cable. If your cable is damaged in some way, that could be causing your issues with your Weigh beams, and you can always replace the cable. So it's pretty simple. I have a separate video on how to do it, but I can show you a little later on the process. But check that and make sure the feet are screwed in, but you don't want the feet screwed in all the way. You need to have a little bit of space on the feet to actually travel, because if you screw them all the way too tight in, you might have a hard time reading it. So you inspected the scale and walk through the calibration. In my 901, when I turn it on, giving the user, you might get error 6, you might get ends, or you might get a very big fluctuating weight. Either way, this video will help. So to get a calibration, hold on the on and set button for 2 seconds. And you see C01. So press set, C11. So you want to set it to 2. 2 is for pounds. CO2, leave it at 0 for that's 0 decimal places. That does not need to change. CO3, and you'll see 3 is 1, 2, 5, 10, different possibilities. So this is a 5,000 pound Weigh beams, so it's 1 pound accurate. If you have 10,000 pound Weigh beams, that'll be by 2. So this is 5,000, leave it at 1. And CO4 is where we set the max capacity. So right now it says 10,000, but mine is a 5,000. So move left, press and hold, and right by pressing the units button. And you see the arrows, so you go down. And CO5, make that to 1. And this will zero out whatever the beams are. So whatever equipment you're not going to use on the beams, keep on there. If not, remove all the weight. Zero it out. Okay, now press set, CO6, C60. Now press the 0 button, make that to 1. And then press set, you see span, and you'll see some number. So I'm going to enter in my weight. And that's how you can move around. Okay, 00160. So now place your weight on there or stand on it, whatever you're going to be using. So I stand on 2 beams. Error 4 just means I'm moving around too much. So you'll notice on mine, even if I'm not even standing on it, there's no weight on there. I'm still getting the error 4, I think it's fluctuating. Even though it's nothing on there, there's no fluctuating weight. So this could be an issue. So either maybe did go through it, you saw some number, and then you saw cal end, then you can press set and press the on off button to get out. If you're not able to calibrate, or the weight's not correct when you stand on it, then we could be having a wiring issue. So I just want to show you quickly how to do it on a 900 indicator. So you're here, hold down the hold and print, CO1, make that 2. So these are all going to be the same settings. C2, 0 for 0 decimal places. CO3 for 1 pound accurate. CO4 says 1,000, so this was going to be 5,000. CO5, make sure it's all clear. And then make that to 1. 0, it's good. No weight on there. CO6, make that to 1, and then press print. So you see, weight. So now weight's 160, so let me stand on it. So you notice on this one, it actually said 0 and then cal end. It's not supposed to say 0. It's supposed to say some number, but not 0. So 901, I was not even able to get this far. But anyways, if you're on 900 and you got all the way through, press print, and then total, you see 0. Remove the hold. Nothing at all. So that's an issue. So if you're on the 900 or you're on the 901, you're gonna be holding on the power button until it shuts off completely. So connect your indicator back and let's check another setting. So back on 901, we turn it off, turn it back on, and back to the use. Hold the on and set, and back to CO1. So now we're checking a different setting. We're actually going to check the raw data that the load cells or sensors inside the beams are giving to us. So each beam, you see 2 feet on each beam, so it's 4 feet total, and each beam screws in, or the feet screws into a load cell. So we're actually going to check what the output is. So you're going to go left, press and hold, and go up. You see I made this 11. Go back right, make that press 0 to go to 5. And you'll see it's 99999. So, and I'll show you on the 900. So if you have your 900, hold and print. Move left, pressing units. The 0 button, make it go up. Then go right, pressing count. And then keep pressing 0 till you see 5. And you see, this one also gives me 99999. So what you're going to do is I start unplugging things. Doesn't matter if it's 901 or 900. Remember, you have 2 beams here, or 2 connections. So separate it out so you know which one is which. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I have it all tangled up. So I'm actually going to unplug both of them. You can see the raw data changed. So let me separate the cables out. So it's down. So you see the cables. Separate that out. So I know which one's my right beam and which one's my left beam. So this one is my left beam. See, now it's a lot easier to see. So now left, because it connects to that one, and right, connects to the other one. So take 2 connections. Now let's connect it back here. So I'm going to put my left one here and my right one here. And you don't have to turn this off. You can leave this on while doing this. It won't damage anything. You're just getting the sensor data. Okay, went back to 999. So remember, this is my right one, right here. So let me unplug it. Look what happens. Still 99999. Let me plug it back in. And take out the left one. Now, it's some number, and it's fluctuating. That's good. It's supposed to do. And this is my right beam. If I put my foot on it, you see I put my foot on here. You see a number go up. Let go, get smaller. So when I step, it should go up. When I remove weight, it should get smaller number. That means that beam is working correctly. Might not be correct number. That's what the calibration is for. They will take this raw data and actually say this much change in raw data is this much weight. And that's what the indicator is doing. But if I plug the other one in, see, I plug the other one in, and I take out the right one, which I know my right one was a good one, 999, and no will change. Even if I step on it, no change at all. Usually gonna take one out. That's a good thing about it. You can have just one beam connected, and it will still work. So in this case, I'm narrowing it down to my left beam. It might be your right beam, it might be both. Who knows? But in my case, right one's fine. Take the left one out. It's fine. You can see the raw data. You can do the same thing with the, if you had a T900, do the same thing. So this is my close-up of my beam. You got a 24-inch, 48-inch, 60-inch. Doesn't really matter. They all act the same. So you'll see, you're going to look for the cable and check if any cuts or smashed, especially in this area here, because typically that's where it gets damaged. And we could turn it over. Make sure the feet are all attached. And you see load cell number 1 with the foot, and load cell number 2 with this foot, and a black box labeled the junction box. So what we're going to do is actually check the wiring inside here. So there's 4 screws here. You might have more, but either way, these screws on top, remove, and remove the lid. And we'll start checking inside. And you can see I remove all the screws, so I can remove the lid. And you'll see a lot of wires here. When you first open this up, the first thing is you check if there's water in here. Typically the J card dies first. The load cells typically are fine. So the load cell goes to this one and this one. They're typically fine. Usually the J card is the one that dies first when there's water. The load cell can handle water. The J card, or this card where all the things meet up, could be your issue. So if there's water in here, then replace this junction box or J card. Junction box is the whole thing. J card is this connector. So you're gonna take out all the wires and order a new one. Also, when you're here, and assuming it's not wet, you're gonna make sure they're all in the correct order. You see EXC minus, it might be E minus for yours. The same thing. It's black. You see SIG minus down here. This one says SEN. Ignore that one. SIG minus is white. That's the next one. Then you'll see SHIE or SHI. The shield, which is the yellow clear cable. See, this one was bare wire. Then you'll see SIG plus, which is the green cable. And the red cable is EXE plus or E plus. The green could be S plus, the white could be S minus, and E minus for black, depending on the Weigh beams. So you gotta make sure all of them are in the correct order and there's no water in here. What's important is this connector. These are for this load cell and this load cell. And this gray cable, you see how it goes here, gray cable, follow it along, and that's your 5-pin connector that connects your 900 or 901. So there's only 3 connectors here. So what you're gonna do is actually check, and this is why you're gonna need a mini flathead screwdriver, because there's a little screw here where you could clockwise tighten it or counterclockwise loosen. So what you're gonna do is make sure all these wires are in all the way. See, some of these cables have the metal tip, like it's not all the way in. See some of them. So what you're gonna do is actually tug on each individual cable one at a time, and you see how like this red one's not all the way in. What you're gonna do is loosen it up. Make sure the cable goes all the way in as much as you can, and then tighten it down. So you're gonna do that for all of them, and it's good to check for both beams, but at least the one that's giving you the issues, check all the connections are tight. Back in junction box, you see I tightened some of them as much as I can, and it went in all the way that it possibly can, and I tugged on every single cable. So they're all tight in there. It's good. The feet are not screwed in all the way. So now I don't have to put the lid back on, at least for now. What we're gonna do is actually turn it over, and you can watch previously on how to calibrate or check the C15 setting. Remember, you have your left cable and plug it into the left port. It makes it easier to just keep track of. And the right one in the right port. So I never took it out of C15 setting, so I'm already there. But if you're not ready to get out, press total, go to hold and print, right, make it to 5, move left, move to 1, stick in 99999, and my right beam is the one that's working fine, and it's still fine. But let me unplug the right one and plug in my left one. You'll see pretty quickly what happens. See, it went from being fine to 9s. I can step on it, no change. So that's bad, because if C15 is not working, then the calibration won't work, because it won't know the difference between weight on it and no weight on it. So how are you going to calibrate that? So that's telling me, since the cable doesn't look damaged in any way, I'm going to show you how to test for the home run cable, if it's a good home run cable. So you will need a multimeter. So what we're actually going to do, and it's going to be very difficult to show you as well, we're going to remove all the cables, at least the red, green, white, and black, and I want to show you with a multimeter, test continuity. So it's a little more difficult to show you because I need 2 hands for this operation. So what you're going to do is actually get your multimeter and set it to continuity. So it's this one is the little symbol here. You'll know when you have the right setting because when you touch the two ends, you hear a beep. So, and if you don't have a multimeter, it's going to be a lot more difficult to actually prove it because there's pretty much no other way unless it's obviously damaged. But remember your cable here, and we removed the cables from here. So they're actually labeled if you actually look closely. Pin 1 is red, pin 2 is green, pin 3 is white, pin 4 is black. So what you're actually going to do is actually put one end of the cable inside pin 1. You want to locate the red cable. And remember, we're doing the set, the home run cable, which is the gray cable. Just follow the cable, and you see that's the one we took out. And touch it. Okay, it's beeping. That's fine. That's good. Now test pin 2, which is green. Which is in. And we're going to touch that one. Which is only touching one. Yeah, it's good. Green is good. Pin 3. It's white. That's good. Pin 4. It's black. That's good. So, seeing that the cable's fine, if you don't have a multimeter, the best thing you could do is get your screwdriver. And you see how the housing has two little screws here? You're actually going to loosen this up. You don't have to take it all the way out, but loosen them up. And we'll check the solder points on this connector. Grab the black tip, left hand, right hand, twist counterclockwise, little housing. And we'll slowly start pulling down. So you got to loosen this up. And you're going to check. Remember I told you? Pin 1 is red. That looks fine. Pin 2 is green. Pin 3 is white. Pin 4 is black. None of them have broken off solder points. If one of them broke off, then that could be a problem. You need a new home run cable or solder it back on. We do sell home run cables, so you can buy it through us directly. Solder points look fine. There's no kinks or cuts in the cable, so that's fine. And we'll make sure the continuity as a backup. Make sure the home run cable is fine. So we just eliminated one possibility. The cable, the ISO home run cable, is good. The only two things left is the junction box, where all the wires meet up, is bad, or the load cell. One of them is bad. So we already tested one load cell, so we're going to close it back up. You see how screw this on. Okay, so I could put this down. The way to actually check, since my left one is still giving me the issue, we checked all the connections. We're actually going to start removing load cells. So you're going to turn it over again, and this is actually why we didn't close it, and start removing load cells that we think could be the issue. So we're back up here, and this is the beam that's giving the issue. So you can see this connector, follow the cable, and it goes to this load cell. And this set of wire goes to this load cell. Neither load cell looks damaged anyway. Sometimes rats can get in here and chew on these load cell cables. Doesn't look like it. See, there are two bolts hold on to load cell and the foot. So we're gonna start removing load cells. So I'm gonna suspect maybe, let's try this one first. There's no obvious signs of damage. If there's obvious signs of damage, remove the load cell, and then makes it kind of obvious if it works or not. So what you're gonna do is actually, and you have a choice: remove power, remove signal. I'll remove the two signal cables. So you see, loosen up the green and the white connector. So those are the two signal cables. They're the ones that send the data. So you see how to remove both of them? Just make them sure they don't touch, because then it will send a signal that's shorting. Not gonna damage load cell, but, and it's very hard to damage actually load cell, but not gonna send any signal to the home run cable, which goes to the indicator. So what you're gonna do, since I removed one load cell, signal cables, it's still receiving power, red and black, but not sending a signal. So we're only running on one load cell right now, which is this one. And we're gonna turn it over and actually see if that's the issue. Go to C15 setting and we'll see what's going on. I'm showing you how to do it on a 901, but it's the same process. I'm going in the C15 setting, so I just left it there. Even if it's unplugged, it's fine, but but you're wasting a process. Just go to C15 set, and I still see 99999. Right, even if I step on it, nothing. And if I unplug it, see, number changes. We narrowing it down. It's not the home run cable. We tested continuity, we checked the connection, there's no kinks or cuts in the cable. We only tested this load cell. I don't think it's this one, because it was not able to get any signal when a C15 setting. It also says 99999, even though this one was plugged in and this one was not. Meaning, most likely this load cell is the issue. So I removed the green and white cables, and let's see if it functioned properly. If it functioned properly, then this load cell is good, and the one he took out was bad. So let's test it out. Make sure all the cables are in correct order. Let's see what happens. I plugged in the beam I was working on. I don't need to plug in the other one. I'm here, and that's a good sign. And if I step on it, it does go up. So that does tell me that my issue was this bottom left load cell down here is the issue, because I removed it and it's working fine. So in my case, replace the load cell, take out 2 bolts, unplug the wiring, and then you're able to take out the load cell and put a new one in. You can order a new load cell through us. You just need to know the model, it's a sticker on the side, and the capacity. So in our case, let's say, for example, this doesn't fix it, and then pretty much we're suspecting maybe the junction box. So let's try one more thing, show you if this didn't fix the problem. In my case, the wires I took out led to the bad load cell, which is this one. You can remove these 2 bolts, move the feet, and you see a sticker on the side here with the model and the capacity, and you can order a new one through us. But if this didn't fix it, you never know. Maybe both load cells are bad, and that's why it didn't work with either one. Or junction box. So it doesn't really narrow it down. Mostly it does, but it's not 100%. So what we gotta figure out is which load cell is actually the issue. So what we're gonna do is actually remove all these cables, and I'll show you what to do next. So I removed the cables, all of them, from the home run cable and from the load cell. I kept the yellow one in, but because we don't actually use the yellow one, it's not even plugged in. So what you're gonna do is actually take the home run cable and join it with the load cell. And you might need some electrical tape, something to hold it together. You can do that for the red and red, the green and green, white and white, black and black. So we're just bypassing the J card, and we're going to do the same thing again with this. Plug it in to 900, 901, check the C15 setting. So if it works fine, you step on it, step off of it, and it's working fine, then that load cell is good. Do the same for the other load cell, then that load cell is good. Then eliminated it, and the last possible thing is this J card or the junction box. Go to a new junction box through us and replace it. Especially if it's got wet, replace it. So that's kind of the process. Not another way really. You're gonna have to just bypass it. And I mean, you can hold it, but it's kind of difficult. Electrical tape, if you have any, or anything that can hold it together. So you're gonna do that for all the cables, and that's how you fix the wave beam system. Assuming you didn't have any water, typically this could happen when you have put too much weight on these. These are kind of maybe 5,000 pounds on one beam, because they're, if you look at the capacity, it's 2.5K. Most likely, it might be 5K. If you go beyond double the capacity of the load cells, that could damage it. Maybe put something too heavy on one beam, and that's what causes damage. That's why you split the load between each beam. So half the weight on one, half the weight on another. Or some kind of hardware failure. These don't typically just go bad on their own. Typically it's a wiring issue, load cell issue, or the junction box. So that's how you start eliminating and figure out how to fix wave beams. If you have any questions, email us. Thank you. Bye.